Perfect. All right, guys. Hey, how's everyone doing? Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Alex. I am a respiratory therapist. That is my W-2 job. I specialize in investing in short-term rentals. I'm actually here setting up my 5th short-term rental here in Gulf Shores, Alabama. It's about a 3 to 4 minute walk to the beach. Super stoked about this. Hopefully leaving my W-2 job soon. What I realized is a lot of healthcare professionals were miserable during COVID. And so I created this healthcare professionals investing in real estate along with Savannah to help other healthcare professionals invest in real estate. So that's kind of where my passion is now. And happy to have Nicole and Carissa here. I am huge fans of the Pink Cactus House. I've been bragging about these guys for a year now because I want me a Pink Cactus House. I'm really jealous about that. But anyway, I'm gonna turn it over to Savannah.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Savannah. I'm a registered nurse here in Los Angeles, California. I started investing in single family homes at the beginning of 2020 at the start of the pandemic. Really after I had my second daughter is what motivated me to find a different way, a better way to kind of grow wealth and be able to achieve financial freedom a little bit earlier than my W-2 ever would get me. And so I started investing in single family homes, switched into multifamily syndications, which is what I currently own and operate. While I was doing that, I saw a huge need in nurses for financial education, real estate information, resources, educational material. So I started Net Worth Nurse and that's been my huge passion, just growing that to provide a lot of resources for nurses. And so kind of hand in hand with that, Alex and I started this investing group, I guess almost 3-4 months ago now, just because we felt there was a huge need for healthcare professionals to kind of have a community and collaborate on what they're doing in real estate. And we were not wrong because this group is so active on Facebook. There's tons of people in here doing deals, amazing things, lots of different strategies. So it's been really fun to watch it grow. And I am excited to hear from Nicole. And I'm sorry, I don't know the other name. Oh, it's on mute.
Yeah, because we're using Nicole's laptop. It's Carissa.
Nicole and Carissa. Yes, Alex has told me about this Pink Cactus House. So I'm excited to see what you guys have for today. So everyone, welcome. And we're going to hear about short-term rentals.
Correct.
Yep. Awesome.
So yeah, like I mentioned very briefly, thank you, Alex, for having us. And we don't have anything formal prepared, but I figured what we could do is just give a little bit of the origination story about our first short-term rental. And for background, we're both full-time real estate agents in Scottsdale, Arizona, so Phoenix Metro. And we own, or is it going to be 10 now? 9? I don't know. Yeah. Around 10 short-term rentals. Close in 2 days on our, I think, 10th.
Yeah. I think
something like that. I don't know what number you lose track, but we're there. So I think what I'll do is, do we have share screen ability? Because I could just pull up Pink Cactus so we could click through some of the.
You guys do have share ability, and I actually dropped it in the chat, the Airbnb listing.
Okay, so people could, you could pull that up if you want to just click on that link. So you can still see us while we're talking, and I'll let Nicole give a little bit of the background about the origin of how we started Pink Cactus and how that dovetailed into a lot of these other properties. Sorry, I closed it.
No, you're good.
I suck at Mac.
So I guess the backstory to Pink Cactus is guest house at my house, rolled into, I had that for a couple of years, used that money to reinvest into a single family residence. Enter the Pink Cactus. I found it and it was like 1.5 miles away from my current residence at the time.
And actually on the same road.
Yeah, on the same road, which is funny. I ended up, my daughter's middle name is that road, which is hilarious.
The road that both properties are on.
Yeah.
So she started out kind of the old school Airbnb model of not renting a room, but renting an attached guest house on her primary home that probably double covered your mortgage.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was awesome.
So
And
she's like, wow, there's a lot to this model. What if we did a whole single family standing home? And that's when she bought a single family home that had been remodeled really close to her primary. And
yeah, and at the time I bought it with really no intention of what it was going to look like. I imagined some sort of, I don't know, a place that appealed to everyone, that everyone would want to go to. But halfway through kind of my setup process and design, I was like, I don't know, I felt I was appealing to too broad of an audience, and I found myself getting stuck with design. And I personally really enjoy design. I don't have a background in it, but it's just always been a passion of mine. And so for me, it was just easier to focus, to give it my design process a focus. So that's where I was like, how about just like females?
I remember when she pitched me, because we're teammates on a real estate team and we usually bounce a lot of stuff off each other. And she said, do you think this idea is totally crazy? I'm thinking of going super girly, like a girls trip or a bachelorette trip or birthday trip, like pink and flowers and flamingos and all this stuff. I'm like, no, actually, I think it's genius because I have a background in advertising and marketing. And I said, one of the sole tenets of that whole industry is you don't want to appeal to everybody because then you appeal to nobody. So pick exactly, laser focus who that one person is that you want this product, this service, whatever, to target. And then you're going to get all the people like them. And I also jokingly at the time when she said, this is the concept, I said, and honestly, again, jokingly, I called it like the thirst trap house because I said, those are thirsty people that want to take photos and post and brag about where they've been on Instagram. So I think we have a built-in marketing base as well as a target guest. So she went all in.
Totally. I just kind of ran with it and, it built it into what became the Pink Cactus, launched it at the very beginning of 2020. And then obviously, boom,
the world shut down.
The world shut down.
Well, for non-medical people.
Yeah.
You guys launched what, March 10th or March 11th, right? Is that the day you went live?
2 days before states started shutting down.
Right. And in Arizona, right? Where
COVID's not real here, you guys.
Right. And so what was that like? It's crazy because you decided to get into Airbnb and you invested quite a bit of money, right? Like designing this thing. And then you have this vision of going live and then all of a sudden it just gets shut down.
Totally. But that's where I like dovetailed it into like, okay, well, if it's going to be, everyone's working at home, no one's doing anything, no one's booking anything, obviously. How about I called them like COVID days or something. I forget. Quarantine,
work from home days or quarantine work days, something.
And I just had people DM me on Instagram if you wanted to work from home that day. I had like a whole basket there of, Clorox wipes, whatever. And if you wanted to work from home from the Pink Cactus one day, you can for free, as long as you cleaned up after yourself, kept it clean, and would post on social media about it. So that's where kind of our model of when we finish a property, get people in there to promote it instead of us having to do all of the legwork of the marketing and whatnot. Like we fell into that, what became our secret sauce.
Yep. So find people who like to do the photo shoot, content for social media thing, not even target out influencers or anything that strategic, frankly. It's more, who's interested in posting about this and taking cool photos, and as long as we can use the photos as well and they cross promote the property. And it went ironically viral on social media like week 3 or 4. Within the first few weeks it went viral, when there's a massive viral pandemic, as just this cool concept, and everybody was glued to their computers and phones because we couldn't even take our groceries from the delivery and like be safe at that point. Nobody knew what was going on. So it just really, the timing of it was perfect to get picked up as just this outstanding thing that no one had really seen, at least in our market, and not even as this vacation destination because of the conditions of the world at the time. But it wasn't soon, it was within a few weeks after that, that at least Arizona lifted a lot of the restrictions. So people wanted to come to Arizona where they could at least do something, like go out to, I don't think restaurants were open yet, but it was much less restrictive than the majority of the country. So people would drive from California and nearby states to go stay at a place with a pool and work remotely for a few days or a week or whatever. And it just started getting booked out really far in advance after that.
Yeah, totally. And so that's kind of, since it plays into the bachelorette field, which, as soon as someone gets engaged, normally they're like, what's next? Let's plan our bachelorette. And even though it's a year out, people are booking it because they want to get those types of plans solidified. So
so we really like the model because people plan far in advance. They rarely cancel because they're coordinating a bunch of logistics with people to get there. And the question we get asked on occasion is, well, aren't you worried about like crazy out of control parties or loud, noises and all that? And I'll let Nicole talk about how we have a lot of rules in place to avoid that and enforce them, because we want to be good neighbors in the community and not have party houses.
And it sounds funny. I mean, because people are like, how is that not a party house? No. I just have so many rules in place, and I disclose everything in the listing, that we have cameras, we have noise monitoring software, all the things. And when you check into my house, there's like rules framed in like an artful way all over the walls, kind of disguised as art, but surprisingly people follow them.
Well, and Nicole's also very selective about who even is allowed to book. If she gets any inkling from the questions that she asks someone before allowing the booking, that it's a 21st birthday party, they're local, they're like all the red flags for all my friends showed up. Whoops, how'd that happen? You turned down probably 2/3 of the inquiries, right?
Yeah, probably like closer to like half, but yeah, I would say probably half I don't end up booking with. But what's nice is with this formula is there's so many people for one weekend. So if someone doesn't book, I'll get another group. It doesn't matter.
Right. And so that was the general approach with the first house. And then it worked so well, we got some more. We went in with an investor and have 4 with them.
Yep.
And we're now currently, like I think I mentioned earlier, closing on our biggest project yet, meaning like a more luxury type property, in a couple days. And it will be within the Pink Cactus family, just more luxe, more over the top, probably not quite as girly, but still very appealing to that demographic. And I don't know if you guys were able to at least click through to the link that Alex posted to see just kind of the design and vibe. It'll be like that, just probably a little bit more luxe, like more luxury.
Yeah.
I saw you guys posted something like that, right? Pink Cactus House 2 on your social media. Was that it? Or I'm huge fans. I want me one, I'm telling you. And actually it's something that I think like hosting isn't for everybody, right? You have to really enjoy it to really thrive and grow the business. And I think it's what you guys have done is what all of us hosts really strive to become, is to create like this amazing experience in this amazing house where it goes social, or it goes viral, or people want to go and stay in it. So, and really you did it in such a short amount of time, right? I mean,
I think
you guys
that's that luck of the draw. If you get, like, you can't control some of this, right? You can't control whether a specific property is going to go viral, but this one did. And if you have one property in a portfolio that does, then you can leverage that following to promote other ones.
Right.
Can you guys talk about how long it took you to really niche down on the pink bachelorette girls trip type thing, and a ballpark, like how much it cost you to deck it out? Can everyone see the screen? Everyone see the listing?
Yeah.
I could see it, yeah.
How much did that cost?
Make sure you tell them.
Krista said, make sure you tell him you were really pregnant when you did all this.
She he was like nesting and stir crazy and needed a project.
Yeah, I was super
Before her
bored.
first kid, so she, had the
Yeah.
time and
I had tons of free time then. Yeah, I put this all together when I was like, up until I
7,
gave
8
birth.
months,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was 7 to 9 months. But my like total investment, I would say, I budgeted 20,000 for the inside and another 20,000 for the outside. Like my backyard was just, it only had a pool. The rest of it was just rocks. So everything else I had to build out there. So I think I did end up spending close to that 20. And in the interior, I think luckily I'm local, so I was able to kind of save there.
and
Whatnot.
her husband and father and sister family is very helpful and
Yeah.
handy. So probably saved some labor costs there for sure.
Totally.
Yeah, because
So,
was the kitchen all updated or did you update all this? Because it looks
yeah,
brand
it was all updated.
Okay.
When I first purchased the house, all I did was do
new, like these
exterior.
pink knobs.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
like
like the girly.
But the house was fully remodeled.
I just
It
did
was
exterior
just
and
really
interior
bland
paint.
and generic.
Yeah,
So
it was like all gray on the inside and I think brown on the outside.
yeah, or I think it was gray with like yellow or orange. I
It was
don't. It was
weird.
ugly.
Yeah.
So no remodel work, just aesthetic and cosmetic stuff.
Yeah, like that fun tile was all there.
Yep.
which
Did the
was nice.
design turn out better than what you envisioned?
Totally. Yeah, it definitely turned out better than I envisioned. I'm also a really visual person, so it did turn out I feel like it was very close to what I was envisioning. And what's cool is all my murals are done by now kind of like a famous, at least in Scottsdale, muralist
Yeah.
named Courtney with Spindles & Co. I went to high school with her and I approached her. I was like, Courtney, we haven't talked in over 10 years, but I see you're kind of doing hand lettering thing on your Instagram.
And like wedding invitations and stuff.
Yeah, I was like, do you think you could do a mural? And she charged me like, I think I paid less than $1,000 for 2 murals.
and
from
she's
her.
like she's blown up.
Oh, I can't
It's
even
cool
like,
to see all these peripheral businesses take off at the same time as ours has too. It's really cool.
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, so around like 40,000 to set it up.
And I hate to even share the acquisition price because
Yeah.
I'm sure all of you know Scottsdale, along with the Smokies, along with a lot of these markets, prices have ballooned, but
Like 422, I think I paid.
yeah, like 430 grand for the house, fully remodeled, 4-bed, 3-bath
Yeah.
in closed February 2020. We could not that we would, we're not selling. We could sell that right now, probably over 8.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But it's also very customized and there's people who would buy it turnkey, right? So that's part of the value add, but
I'll buy it. Let me know.
$2 million.
There we go.
What else? We went on a tangent. Oh, setup budget. And do you want to share some of the numbers, like where your gross bookings for that house this year?
Yeah, it does close to 200.
Just shy of 200
Yeah.
gross. And that,
200,000.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
And it
God.
should be up over 250.
Oh,
for
yeah.
next more than, because you can explain this, how you charged, like kind of undercharged.
Yeah. So this is my second year running, and my first year I put it up and I didn't really know what I was doing. It was totally different pricing from my unit I had previously that was just a guest studio. So I wasn't too sure. And after it went viral, I had that whole year book up after that. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. A whole year
And
booked
you're like,
up.
wow, like $500 a night, $600 a
Yeah,
night.
I was like,
wow.
man, I'm getting such good prices. And then as I became more seasoned in it, I realized, wow, I was extremely underpriced. And it going viral combined with it being such a deal, like I lost all my days for a whole year. So then I was able to adjust my pricing, and I've since adjusted probably another time since. So this year has obviously been much better. And next year I'll crush it even more than I did this year.
And knowing all the things that she knows now about pricing and how far out these target market parties book, we're going to be able to dovetail that right into. That's why we knew what our numbers were to go acquire a more luxury property, because you can pay more for a property that you know is going to bring in 250 a year minimum, because you have a built-in audience and know what your pricing structure looks like.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think you have more of a ROI there because the other homes are generating more income because you have a following and a name and a brand, you know?
Correct.
But for everyone out there, because we're all in this, like a lot of us are in the Smokies or in all of these hot destination markets, and we're overpaying like crazy just to generate 150,000 or something like that.
Those 150 is great. I'm like,
Yeah.
some of our Pink Cactus is the like flagship.
Right.
Our other properties are over 100, but they're not 200. They're
Right.
like in the low 100s.
Yeah.
But it
Still.
shows you how important, like if you kill it with design, because the house, I mean, the house itself is just kind of a regular house, but what you did with the design was absolutely phenomenal. And combined with design and marketing, you can absolutely kill it. But like I said, like all of us are going to the Smokies paying $1.2 million to get, you know, to generate like 150,000 or 200.
Wow. Okay. It's not that out of control here.
Yeah.
You could make 100K on a house in and around Old Town right now for, I've seen a couple last week for like mid-6.
Yeah.
You could get in under 7 still and make 100K if you do it right. I mean, I don't promise any of that. There's so many factors that go into it, but design is for sure the most design, more than anything, I'd say design is the most important thing in our model.
Yeah. And now we have kind of an in-house designer that we work with who services the majority of our clients.
Yep.
And that woman is a woman named Lindsay, who I went to college with, who ended up getting her master's in design. So it's been really cool to kind of incorporate these people who are, you know, my friends originally.
So did you buy the home with a 10% down payment, or did you put 20% down?
I did 20.
Yeah, I wouldn't have qualified as a second home. It was too close.
So like, let's say $120,000 all in, right? Somewhere around there.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
You pretty much generated, I would say, probably all of that back within the first year. Did you recoup all that cost with that?
Oh yeah, my first year I recouped all that.
And see how you did that update this summer.
Oh yeah, and I did an update this summer because I found some flaws in like I tried to DIY some parts of the Pink Cactus when I was originally setting up to be more cost effective for me. But in the end, and this is something I preach now to our clients, it's like, is the DIY method really worth it? Or is it something you're gonna have to just do the correct way in a year? So this past summer, we probably invested close to 15,000 into updating some of those items.
Like the new exterior photos, that cool pink tile on the outside, that custom swing.
Yeah, the swing.
Yeah, which her husband made, right? Welded.
Yeah, originally I had like a hand painted design on the concrete that I did when I was super pregnant. I was just like rolling around and painting. And so we replaced it with a fancy pink tile, which was definitely more expensive than I would have paid for something, but it was pink and I needed more pink there.
Photographs amazingly.
Yeah. And then the purpose of the outdoor swing was, I was so tired of replacing outdoor furniture, and our son, it just gets absolutely destroyed. So I was like, let's find something that has no fabric and just can weather anything and won't blow into the pool. Then the swing was born. So yeah.
Would you guys say a week or a month that you spend on the property? Like how much time are you spending on it, managing it?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes a day.
30 minutes.
3 to 5 hours a week average.
Yeah, on just that one.
Just that one. Yeah.
Yeah, not much. I have like most of my auto responses down, and I can use AI as much as I can. I do.
What about for all of us who are actually interested in investing in Arizona or Scottsdale? Like everyone always asks me about these different markets. Like, what do you think about Phoenix? What do you think about Scottsdale? And I always tell them, I know someone that's absolutely crushing it. So can you tell everyone why you think it's such a great market, and do you think it's going to continue to be that way?
Well, Scottsdale in particular has always been a vacation destination for its resorts, its shopping, its climate in general for the valley. But Scottsdale in particular for like, if people want the night scene, the restaurants, the nightlife, and in the last probably 3 to 4 years, Scottsdale has topped the top like couple destinations along with Nashville for bachelor and bachelorette destinations. So we know, just like anything, when you're going into an investment strategy, you know, like what's your backup plan, right? Like, I don't think it's going to be the hot bachelorette party place forever. So keep in mind, we always know like what could we long-term rent these for, you know, along with the asset gain of the equity within the properties. But for now and for the foreseeable future, Scottsdale is going to have plenty of girls traveling together and booking these kinds of trips. So Scottsdale in particular works for that. Scottsdale also, we both live in Scottsdale, so we know it very well. We like investing in the market that we live in because we know so much about it. We do, I'd say probably about half of we close about 10 deals a month. Not all short-term rental, by the way, probably most of them are not short-term rental investors. And maybe half of those are in Scottsdale. The rest are in Phoenix, Gilbert, Chandler, Tempe, West Valley, all over Phoenix Metro. And we do have, I don't know what, 10 to 15 clients who've bought outside of Scottsdale as short-term rental investments. And the numbers all look really good.
Yeah.
They're different, right? You're not making 150 on a house. You're making maybe just under 100, but the acquisition cost was much less.
Mm-hmm.
So the numbers shake out different depending on where you are in the valley. And Phoenix Metro as a whole has a huge sports draw. So there's a lot of, we have spring training and there's, I forget, 15 teams or something that, I don't know, a lot of spring training. We know a lot about baseball, obviously. So there's a huge draw during Q1 for spring training for the Waste Management Open, which is like the party on the green, like a huge golf rave, basically. The Barrett-Jackson auction. There's we
just have endless events, I feel.
Ton of events in Scottsdale and certain sports areas in Q1. Historically, there was such a seasonal residency here of like people that would just come down for Q1 to do that stuff. And then they had a house in the Midwest or Canada or something.
Yeah.
It's shifted more from a retirement community of Scottsdale and Phoenix Metro to, just a huge boom in general of businesses relocating here. So we have huge population growth in general. And also that goes with that is a housing shortage. So what that all means is upward pressure on prices and a lot of competition on the buy side. And it also means your asset, whenever you get in, is going to just keep growing. Projections right now are, I'll speak namely to Scottsdale, but the percentages are going to apply anywhere. We're up 35% year over year, boom, like crazy in Scottsdale, and should be up right around 12 to 15% conservatively a year from today. So the increase that's been doing like this is just going to be a little less hectic from like working in the sales business every day. But because we're in such a population growth and undersupply from both purchases and rentals, prices are just going to keep climbing for sure over the rate of inflation.
What do you guys, can you guys speak to the regulations? Like, I'm getting a ton of messages here. What are the regulations like? Are the neighbors like I live here in the Inland Empire in Southern California, and there's an amazing vacation market close by, which is Big Bear, and the neighbors absolutely hate it. They hate vacation rentals and they want them gone. I mean, does Scottsdale have that feel where like the neighbors want it gone, or are there HOA restrictions?
Some neighbors, so great question. In 2016, the state of Arizona passed a bill that forbid any jurisdiction, county or city, from limiting or disallowing short-term rentals. So the state put a stamp of approval on them, and cities can't override that. HOAs can, so we usually discourage from anybody getting near HOAs. There aren't really any HOA specific built communities. There's some condos and townhomes that are so investor heavy that they kind of are known as the short-term rental there's a couple of them in Scottsdale, but, and you're maybe just not running the risk on those HOAs because there's so many investors. And so the board's overrun by people that would never vote it out. But generally you want to stay away from a regulatory board that could shut down your business, right? So we always look for single family homes with pools, not in an HOA. We personally like Scottsdale, but there's a lot of areas around town that work at lower potentially price points. And the neighbor issue, there's definitely some vocal neighbors that are against short-term rentals because maybe they had a bad party house neighbor, or they've read an article somewhere, or someone told them a bad story happened at one house one time. For sure, there's some bad apples, but generally they're not really fought against much. Did you see the article today?
I didn't.
Yeah, so the city of Scottsdale, there's a coalition of these, like, I don't know, concerned neighbors that think we're overrunning their town or something, when we live here and like it's our town too. That they're concerned. So they brought all these, just want to make sure that the party houses, which we don't want party houses either because it ruins the business model for all of us. They just want better ways to limit or go after these. So there was something that was passed, I think it was unanimously by the city council, but it's all things that don't concern us at all, because it's things like, hey, when you are operating a party house or a noise violation, or things that would be a problem, whether it's your neighbor that lives there full time or not, that the fines are increased, and they're just more steep ramifications for those problem houses. And we actually have a Facebook group we started that's responsible
Airbnb owners and managers of Scottsdale.
Because while we might have what looks like could be a party house because we're attracting bachelorette parties, we're really good managers, and we do not allow people that seem like they're going to be problems. And if they are violating rules, we deal with it immediately, or they're going to get kicked out.
Yeah.
So we're huge proponents of being good neighbors, because we live here and we wouldn't want that to bother us if we live next to one either. So doing it in a responsible way. And it's really a case-by-case basis when you look at individual neighbors. We don't have like a specific formula we use to introduce ourselves. It's just like if you were moving into a new house, like if you meet your neighbor organically and you talk to them, and it's not like we canvass the neighborhood and are like,
No.
hello, we're your new neighbors and we're setting up an Airbnb. Like, we're not looking to advertise for people to hate us for a reason that they have a preconceived notion about what that means.
Yeah. I see some questions in the chat. Do you want us to answer some of those?
Oh, I know Alex was doing.
Like what's the sweet spot? Like 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms? And what about pool? Do you think pool is mandatory, or do you see other properties that don't have pools? Are they doing okay?
I mean,
You have,
I have one
some of each.
I have one without a pool, and it surprisingly does really well, and I wasn't expecting it. And it's my property that also has a guest house on the premises.
Her former primary, where she started with.
And that guest house is just a converted garage. So I actually advertised it on Airbnb as a duplex, because I find that's the easiest way for people to understand that there is one shared wall there.
Yep.
And then
Genius with marketing. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather have people show up and be pleasantly surprised that it doesn't look like a duplex,
right,
and you actually have way more privacy. But that house does really well. Like, I think it'll do like 10. It's my
3-bed, 2-bath,
3-bed, 2-bath,
no pool,
duplex, and then the other side is a 1-bed, 1-bath like studio.
Yeah.
But that house will do, like, in March, I have it set to do like 10,000 a month, which is great.
Yeah, it's just really, it's an operation of the numbers, right? If you've got a pool, your gross incomes are going to be higher, but you're going to pay more to acquire it and maintain it. So
I have clients who have been doing the, like, I can't afford a totally remodeled house with a pool, 700 and up. What I'm going to do is buy a totally remodeled house that doesn't have a pool, and I'm going to drop a $30,000 pool in it within the first year.
Well, they don't cost that anymore, but maybe if you have a connection. Yeah.
I don't know. My ones, they've so far that they paid just over 30. Not bad.
Damn, this year?
Well, they signed a contract. Yeah, this year. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I ate my words.
Yeah.
I thought they were more. So
but
yeah,
that's,
you don't have to do the pool. Like,
yeah.
would I go buy another house without a pool? The only way I would is if I was probably going to put a long-term tenant in it.
Yeah.
But by the way, long-term rents in Scottsdale are quite high.
Yeah.
And they've been climbing. They're up 40% valley-wide in the last 18 months. It's out of control. You know, states with no rent control and things like that. You can get away with stuff like that. So yeah, they both work. It's just a function of running the numbers and knowing what your backup plan and kind of your safety nets are.
What about this? You guys mentioned that you're local. I mean, and you guys are able to manage some of that. Do you think someone like me or anybody could self-manage this from a distance?
If you're an experienced manager, yes. If you are a first-time manager, this is your first property, probably not. I would start with a manager for the first year and then see how it goes. And if you think it's something you could eventually figure out and do yourself. But we have many clients who have other properties.
Like in other markets. Like you guys do.
Yeah. Who self-manage from here.
Yeah, where they just get a good cleaner here and maybe a maintenance person, and they can do the rest, which I'm sure, I mean, I know a lot of you on here do that. So I agree with Nicole. If you already know how the model works and how to find the local boots on the ground resources that you need to enter a new market remotely, I think you can 100% do it. But yeah, if you're brand new and like don't even have any investment property, like don't just, it might be,
I don't see that.
It might be a lot. Yeah. And you might get discouraged quickly.
You talked about cleaners. I mean, is the market mature enough to support that, where there's enough of a workforce to be able to solve those problems? Like, do you have enough cleaners, handyman in that area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
we don't share our cleaner though.
Yeah. We don't share our source. So when people ask that, I'm like, look up on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace. So far, all of our clients have been able to find their own cleaners. And
and there's even some other businesses locally that are sprouting up around the short-term rental industry that are namely like they don't manage the whole property. They're just turn crews, right? Like they pitch themselves as this. We haven't personally tested them, but they come in, it's got laundry service, cleaning, the QA, the maintenance, like the things that you need when you're not local, or you're local and you don't want to deal with it or don't have the time. So yeah, I mean, there's a whole industry popping up around it where you can grassroots mom and pop it, or you can go to a full end-to-end management company, which we do. We have a short list of those that we recommend, and they're usually pretty boutique for all the reasons that you go with boutique services. You don't want to be one of 1,000 properties in someone's portfolio, because your numbers will reflect that. Or there's combinations in between. So I think there's a solution for every investor, depending on where they're at.
Yeah, and I think you're in a heavily populated area where you'll eventually find someone, right? I have a friend that invested in near a national park, and she can't find one cleaner, not one cleaner, and she's dead in the water right there. And not only that, her community, they absolutely hate Airbnbs, and so I don't think she really thought it through.
Sucks.
Yeah. I mean,
Phoenix has a huge workforce, and you might have to go through a couple until you find your one, or your one with your backup, but there's no shortage of people looking for work.
Right. Do you think it's profitable? Because since you did mention that the prices have jumped like tremendously, like everywhere else, do you still feel like it's profitable? Like people always ask me the same question, and I always tell them I'm still buying. But what do you guys feel like in that market?
Excuse me.
We have our answer is similar. I tell people that too. Like, do you still think it's profitable? I'm still buying. I mean, Chris and I are closing on the most expensive property her and I both have ever purchased. It's more expensive
I'm
than either of
really
our
scared
houses.
slash excited. That's good.
But I'm so confident in our model and our formula that I have no doubt that it will be, you know, producing the numbers that we're projecting.
And growing at least 10%, maybe 20% by next year in value.
Yeah.
I have to call the phone.
No, yeah, you're good. So I think as long as you are doing the things correctly that Chris and I preach with, you know, kind of our formula or secret sauce, which is really, when it comes down to it, just good management and great design. As long as you execute those, also great photos, I don't see how it could not perform well.
Yeah, I feel the same way that, you know, I bought these homes here in Gulf Shores, and just the confidence that you gain from your first one, and then it's like printing money. It's like an ATM. You're like, okay, I think I got this. You know, I think I could put in the same exact systems, and you go in there and you pretty much duplicate it, and then you just keep going. You know, I still have hesitation. You know, before you're signing, you're like, am I gonna really make money? But then once I'm in the property, like I'm in the property now, I'm like, this thing's gonna be another ATM. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you just gain so much confidence after your first one. And obviously the scariest part is that first one.
Yep.
What are you guys planning for the next one? Do you guys have a different business strategy for that next one that you're doing? You said it's a little more luxury.
It's going to be a play off the Pink Cactus. And then we really want to just another play off of just Scottsdale. We really want to kind of
showcase the history of this town, even though it's not as old as a lot of places in the country in terms of, yeah, like how long it's been around. They're just really capitalizing on the Old West and like the things that people come to this area from other areas to see. So yeah, combining that with the Pink Cactus stuff that already we know that works.
Yeah.
How many square feet is it?
25, like about 2,500. So definitely bigger than any of
most of the houses here are, you know, anywhere from 1,700 to 2,000 square feet.
Yeah.
So it's definitely on the larger side for this area.
It is. Yeah.
would you ever do anything to cater to males?
You know, I've thought about that, and so many people have asked that. I think about when my husband goes on trips, and they're so gross. Like, I don't know. When I'm a girl on a trip, we're like always making sure everything is so nice. But I feel like guys, they'll be like, oh, I don't want to share a bed. I want to sleep on all the furniture. And all my houses have rules that no one can sleep on any of the furniture because I don't want body oils or whatever. So no, I'm like,
well, and just anecdotally with some of our peers that have different types of properties in town, and cleaners telling us the same thing, which is groups of men, don't get offended, because I'm sure there's exceptions both ways, but groups of men traveling together tend to break more stuff, tend to leave more mess, are louder, even though you think, oh, a bunch of girls, like, yee, no, like, I don't know. I hate being sexist, but
yeah, sorry. Yeah, we have one property. It's in our Airbnb, like a boutique hotel is, I think,
it's
the name
more
of
gender
it.
neutral.
Yeah, definitely more gender neutral. And we get anyone and everyone who requests to stay there. And the property does super well just because it has, again, great theme, great design,
really great yard.
And the only times we've ever had issues with furniture being broken is when there's males there. Like, it's comical, but it's literally only when it's all males.
I mean, even if I don't know.
I don't know. I've tried everything.
And Nicole and I, this is us every day. Like, it's not like we're creating the thing that we'd want to go to. Like, we're not hating on guys or less girly girls. It's just,
I'm just trying to be a good manager is what it comes down to.
And have the least, more bookings, more marketing, and less impact on our negative impact on our property from a damage and noise perspective.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, that was brutal.
Sorry to roast you. Yeah.
What was the worst thing that's happened to you guys in your Airbnb, like, you know, management or anything like that? Have you had like?
The funny is, I ask this question to other managers all the time, and they almost always have some sort of awful response. I truly feel, since I am such a great manager, I haven't had an issue. I really haven't.
No real guest issues. I mean, you've had to like message them and police them a little bit sometimes, like, hey, you guys need to come inside, it's after 10.
Yeah,
or,
just stuff like that. Like, hey, I can see on, my noise aware software that it's 11 and you guys
or
are still
who are the extra
outside,
people, like it looks like there's more than 12 people there, like,
yeah, but I've never had a guest who's really been so out of line that I'll never forget that or something.
But
It's,
you guys don't, I think I talked to you, you guys don't have instant book, right? Like most of us have to have instant book because we're trying to fight over everybody. But since your property stands out so much, you can like pick and choose who you want in your properties, right?
absolutely. And I mean, that's a big part of management that I preach to local managers here is turn off instant book.
well, and a lot of them almost do our process, but reverse, where they allow instant book, but then they further qualify them after they've already booked and, blocked that time off, which they're doing the same due diligence we do, but in reverse. It just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. Like, why allow someone to block the days off before you fully vetted them? Take an extra half a day or whatever that it takes to be like yay or nay, and then allow them to block the time off on the calendar.
Yeah.
I'm getting a question in the chat. Do you help
Yeah.
other investors find properties and manage them?
To an extent, yeah, that's kind of exactly what we do. We don't personally manage them, but we are always kind of refreshing our referrals because it's, again, a big thing we preach, good management. We prefer boutique managers. We typically don't, or we never do recommend any of the large management companies here. Just because we've just come to the decision after so much research is that any of the large companies here who manage, they don't do an adequate job and they suck.
Yeah.
And so
we vet all of our resources and we usually have 2 to 4 of anything, whether it's interior design, the property management,
handyman, whatever.
Yeah, electricians, plumbers, whatever, turf people, because we're licensed realtors, we know that we can't legally just be like, here's your go-to because of RESPA violations and all of that stuff. We're very cautious about, here's our short list. It's up to you, client, to do your investigation of who do you want to go with. We're happy to make an intro, but like, we don't care who you go with. We're not getting paid for you to use this designer or that designer. We get paid when you buy more property because they're doing so well, right? So we're vested in your success in that respect. We also can't legally manage properties with our brokers, errors and omissions insurance in the state of Arizona. So if you find any realtors that are doing that, be careful.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to. What else? But yeah, we often find the properties for our out-of-state investors, which is at least half, maybe 3/4 of, yeah,
probably more.
Most of them are remote.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of my buyers, out-of-state investors, they'll buy based on a video walkthrough and some text or a phone call with me, and they may never see the property until after they close on it.
Yeah.
They do an inspection and they do all their due diligence, but they know what they're buying. They trust our assessment of what they're buying. And
I feel like that's why most people use us, is they trust us that we have the ability to walk into a property, really assess, does this stand out from what else is in this neighborhood, and our opinion on the property.
Yeah, because every market's slightly different. As I'm sure you guys all know, you're more experts in your areas that you already have properties. Like some of the more subtle things we look for is, does the property share a back wall, or is there an alley that buffers for the sound? How tall is the block wall around the property? What size is the lot? How is it laid out? Like, how are you going to protect yourself from being a nuisance to neighbors, right? Knowing you're going to manage it well or hire someone to manage it well. But there's a lot about a property you can't tell from photos, and some agent who doesn't do short-term rentals doesn't even know to look for these things. So yeah, I think all those factors are really important.
Hey, so we're getting close to the hour here. I just want to give everyone an opportunity to get a hold of you in case they're interested in investing in Scottsdale or in the market in general. How do people get a hold of you?
Sure, I know we should have, we're both so bad at marketing because
I know.
we're like so like involved in our education that we forget. So, well, you can follow Pink Cactus at, is it Pink Cactus?
Pink Cactus.
Pink Cactus .az, I think,
Yeah. I'll look it up.
on Instagram. I think it's that. She's checking. And then this is Instagram
Yeah, it's Pink Cactus.
.az. Okay. And then that's our team, Evolve, that we've got our sweatshirts on. And then I guess the easiest, like DMing us on Instagram is really
Yeah.
easy, or you can text, this is Carissa. And then Nicole is 48062. No,
620.
yeah. I was right.
4068.
Yeah, so guys, if you guys are interested, go ahead and save the chat. Go ahead and click on those right 3 dots and then save the chat so you guys can save those if you're not able to write these down, or get a hold of me. I'll give you their information and I'll forward that to you. So
Yeah, text and Instagram is probably the quickest response you'll get from us. If you just Google us too, you should find us. Like
Yeah. I
Pink
think so.
Cactus, Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah.
Evolve, Scottsdale, Arizona. Like you'll find us.
Yeah.
Carissa, there's only like 5 of us in the state, I think. I don't know. Thanks
yeah.
for plugging us, Alex. I always forget about that.
Yeah.
I plug you guys all the time because I'm like I said, I'm huge fans and I love what you
When are
guys
you gonna come by one over here?
Yeah, come
I
on.
know the timing didn't work out, and I was kind of like, oh, something fell in my lap, and I always wanted a beach house, and so I was like, okay, I guess I'll get the beach house.
We'll
So.
give you a pass.
Yeah.
Get a pass.
But what's crazy is like when I got a hold of you, it was like, oh, homes are like $500,000. You could get something easy, and then it jumped like $100,000 in a couple months, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's still going up. So shows you that there's a huge demand there. But hey guys, I just wanted to thank you one last time. Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Oh, and if from a sales plugging ourselves perspective, if anybody wants, we did go over a lot of it, but we have a recorded like hour-ish long Zoom that we give. It was a few months ago on our tips and tricks for managing and sharing some of our numbers. If you'd like a link to that as like a follow-up, because this was a lot to take in, please just message one of us and we'll get you that
Yeah.
link as well. Even if you're not sure, like, I don't know if I'm ready to invest, we're not going to push you to do anything. We're just here as a resource.
All right. Yeah, maybe I'll share it to the Facebook group.
Okay, perfect. Or we could join that too if you want,
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
it's medical professionals or.
No,
Okay.
we like to have experts on there so that way people could get a hold of you too. I'll send you the invite. So
Awesome.
hey, with that, we are gonna wrap this up. Next week, we have these meetups once a week. Next week's still the holiday, so I think we're gonna skip that, right, Savannah?
Yeah, we're gonna skip that next week. And then the first of the month will be January 3rd. So then we'll do our networking event. So make sure you guys save the date for that one. We'll have lots of good stuff. And then we have a lineup already all of January. We have speakers lined up for these meetings. So thank you so much, Nicole and Carissa. So nice to meet you guys. Thanks for sharing all your details and some of your consulting information. And you guys will upload this to YouTube and then also to the chat in the Facebook group. So you'll get all the information from these ladies.
Have a great holiday, everybody.
Great night. Take care.
Bye. See you guys.